Hi, I'm Max Kaiser. Welcome to the Kaiser Report. Boy, it feels great to be a Bitcoin millionaire. I'm loving it. 8 months ago, if you recall, on this show and on the Alex Jones show, I said that there would be a major financial catastrophe over the next 9 months, and we've got it. Bitcoin has absolutely triumphed as the dollar has crashed 90% against Bitcoin, as Bitcoin is set to take on the world and root out the banksters, as we sorely need. We sorely need it. The Dow Jones has hit a new all-time low against Bitcoin, and the paper millionaires and the paper billionaires are really highly suspect because they're part of a manipulated world of manipulated Fed policy, manipulated bond markets. They manipulate the price of gold and silver. But all that money printing that they've done has flowed into the only non-manipulated currency in the world, and that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the true inflation rate, Paul Krugman. Bitcoin is the true inflation rate, Ben Bernanke. And once again, I got to tell you, it feels great to be a Bitcoin millionaire. It's gone up almost 1,400% in the last year. And I'm loving it because there's anonymity, there's power. You're taking a stance against the paper pushers like Jamie Dimon over at JP Morgan. And this is really, this is the currency of the resistance.
Can you imagine 2009 having that amount of conviction? The price goes to $48 and they're just like ecstatic. Can you imagine what they're thinking now? It was $46 in 2009 when they made that video. It's now $68,000. Why I put that video out is that in 10 years from now, all these videos, the reason why I keep the ticker on all these videos is just so history can see the price that we were ecstatic at one point in our lives. We couldn't believe it was all-time high, 68K. In 10 years, this is going to look hilarious if YouTube's still around, of course, if we're still making videos, if we're still allowed to make videos. Who knows, that could all change. But can you imagine the conviction that he had way back then is truly amazing. Now, every day let's actually take a look at some charts here quick here. This is what we said was going to happen yesterday, and Lord love a duck. If it didn't, we wanted to get just above the hand de manipulation that came down right around here. It was keeping us, it looks like I'm all frozen there. I did something to freeze it up. Oh, well, you can steal. Oh, there it is. There's the hand de manipulation. Coming down there and keeping us bottled up here. We got up. We challenged it. We closed the candle, got rejected, came back, tested our support, and then off to the moon here. We wicked out at 68.7, almost getting to that. Misco with a 5 for Friday. Holy smoke, it's Misco. He's back again. He's the Oprah Winfrey of this channel with the support all day long. Whoa. Thank you, Misco. Much appreciated. 5 for Friday all the time. So much. So grateful for you, Misco. Thank you very much. So yeah, let's get rid of this hand here. It's just annoying me now. I thought it was a good idea before I did it. Okay, Gonzo. There we go. We threw a wick up there. Our goal was resistance at 69.4. Well, we got shy there. Textbook retracement back to support. It doesn't get any more textbook. And remember this line, this little green line here, we drew out, I don't know, 6 months ago. And look how it's still just, the respect for this line the chart has is crazy. Look, just a graveyard of wicks, just hanging their wicks underneath it, testing it, and we broke and we came back. Boom. So we got that nice support. Hopefully it's off to the races. I wouldn't want to crash underneath 67.7, which is the 50 moving average. Just keep your eyes on that. That's about it. Now, every day at 12:30 Eastern time, there's a show on YouTube like this with a guy named Druth. And he shares his insights on everything crypto, Bitcoin, and there's topical issues that it's an unbelievable show. It comes on my time at 11:30, and if you're West Coast, it's I guess it's 10:30. Let's have a little talk with Drew down in Georgia.
What an introduction. Unbelievable. And yes, every day. I refuse to quit, man. I'm at it every day. Interesting. I'm at the 50 MA. I opened up a long this morning. I've been seeing this week some interesting things for Bitcoin. And again, I'm pretty terrified to short this market. That still remains, but I've just been seeing every day it's felt like that Wall Street has done well with Bitcoin's price action. Price goes up during American markets being open. Then the Asian markets wake up and they choose violence and they punch it back down and then get that final nasty chart resetting wick at like 3 or 4 in the morning. I didn't catch the nasty reset wick any one of these days, but really, because I get in at about like 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning. But I did get a long in from 67.7, and the stop loss is in profit now. I'm hoping that holds as well for the 50 MA that you're
Where's the
talking about
stop?
there. It's at 67.875. So, we came real close to it just now. We'll see where it goes, but now it's a free trade, and I might be able to catch another big one. Yesterday was a good one. I made 16% on the bag.
How much juice did you put on her?
It's $1,000 and then 20x leverage.
20x.
So,
whoa.
yeah, 20x leverage. It just gets my goat going in the morning. And what I saw
Sure.
is like the 786 fib on the overall channel. Basically from like 73.4 down to the 49K level, this entire channel fib. Yep. The 786, it's ran into it like 3 times. And
is this on the daily or the 4 hour?
On the daily. On the daily, I was looking at it. And that fib, we've tried out a few times, 2 times in the recent past. It seems like we're knocking on that door to bust up into the realm of the next fib. I feel like we're going to get it, man. I know this is chaotically bullish and maybe delusional, but I've seen how markets are reacting, and it's just my opinion that they're really pricing in a Trump election, which is almost too good to be true for me in my ears. I'm like, I can never have nice things in this American political sphere. They would never let Trump back in office, but it almost seems like it is become the situation that's too big to rig for those monsters. I don't know. I try to put away my bias because where I live, I'm in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, and it is a sea of Trump signs. Like, it is very difficult to find Harris supporters. But in Atlanta, I see Harris signs, and I see that there are people that are just politically driven to never vote for the other side, regardless of how little Harris has said on her campaign, how little of a plan she has. Even that moment where she was on Fox and they're like, well, we tried to get you to come here and talk about your plan for the economy since people can barely afford groceries. We'd like to get that plan. She cackles, says they can go onto her website and read through 80 pages of documents where she's laid out exactly how it's going to happen, right? Giggles, and then gets rushed off stage. She still has a degree of support, but honestly, I feel like I'm seeing a situation in America where it has become too big to rig. These people's fervor for that economy that Trump had kick-started, honestly, it was an amazing time for me. And you ask any car salesman, any person that was in sales, commission-based roles, the times were good under that administration, regardless of the political intention of the car salesman or the commission-based salesman. It's across the board. So when I'm seeing this and looking at historically, I was looking at it on the basement yesterday, even with Biden getting elected in 2020, November 2020, we still pumped by like 11.5%, 12% that day. So with a Harris election, I could see a 10% move. With a Trump election, I'm looking at, we could see a 15 to 20% jump on Bitcoin in the course of 24 hours if we do see him come to office. So I'm staying prepared for it. That's why I'm looking for that gig along, trying to find something that can just keep on riding. And I do move up and scoot up the stop loss to a reasonable amount, just to make sure I take profits once it's there. But I really think I might be able to catch a big one if I can find that entry point, ride it into November 6th. That is, potential life-changing money there. So I'm pretty excited about it, man.
You're talking about the scared to short. And the reason why I think people should be scared to short right now is that there's an asymmetric bet on the upside of Bitcoin right now. So is there 1 or 2 more shorts in this market of of like catastrophe, not the catastrophe like the bull market's over, but like a 10, 15% dump from here, maybe there is, but is it worth risking it? Like you're looking at a 10 to 1 here, and I know what does Crypto Face say? Ain't no money like short money. I get it, but it's really a long bomb Hail Mary, so you might as well just be looking into the future at this point rather than trying to play the opposite side of the trade.
Yeah, and those are a lot of the shorts that I've seen play out. CryptoFace, he does it very well off of the charts, but they're just coincidentally timed with really bad macroeconomic events, like the yen carry trade situation, for instance. And really, he's shorting and he's getting a 5 to 10% gain on a short that is $1 million of margin, right? And so when in my situation, working with $1,000 or $2,000 in a trade, 10%, what is that? It's $100, right? So I'm honestly, I'm looking for 20, 30% days. And, shorting right now, it just has seemed like we have more velocity and violence on the chart to the upside than to the downside. And then once, 3 or 4 p.m. comes around, usually what I've seen, volume kind of drops off and things get a lot more boring. So I just let the Asian markets chop us back down to wherever the next volume node's going to end up being. It's hard to predict which volume node's going to be that shelf. You got volume nodes all over the place, but really I'm just acknowledging that we are in a bull market, a bull season, and I have better money to be made by longing, by finding points of support where it falls down to early in the morning before all the traders wake up and all those engines start rolling again, get my position in, let it cook up, put my stop loss in profit, then I can focus on the show, do all that other stuff. And I'm usually killing the trade before I leave the office, unless it's going incredible, because I do not want to be focused on the charts around my kids or my wife at home doing the stuff. I got to take care of a bunch of chickens, a bunch of dogs. Speaking of dogs, stop that dog right now. Stop that dog. Stop that dog right now. Unbelievable. Hoover is at the office with me. He's choosing violence. He's my chicken herding dog. But yeah, I basically cut these trades off so I'm able to get good rest, because I do value sleep, and I value a centered mindset and everything like that. And just come back in. And it's really a big lesson. Like, we all want to find that, 1 giga trade, but the charts reset every single day. We've seen them, even though we gain 2%, then we lose 1%. We gain 3%, we lose 2%, so you have to breathe, and maybe you catch the massive upswing, but really if I just keep focused on that 20 to 30% move a day, the portfolio is going to be doing just fine. So I'm feeling
that's why I put that Max Kaiser video at the beginning, just to reinforce the fact of time in the market. There's no beating time in the market. Can you imagine? He was at $46, ecstatic.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And when Max Kaiser was saying those things, he was looked at as a complete fool, as an idiot,
right,
as a conspiracy theorist. Even though they already had, like at the time that video came out, the dollar had statistically fallen by like 97%, 98% in its buying power. Ever since then, the debt monster that is our current monetary system has continued to print. And a side note, I know that we've seen 400 million here, 400 million there sent to Ukraine. The next 20 billion that the Treasury is releasing to Ukraine is actually seized Russian assets. So now they're using seized Russian assets to go pay the war forward for Ukraine. And we have North Korean troops on the ground in Ukraine. So this is turning, it is not turning, it is a world conflict. And it's just about the time frame where American markets and NATO markets finally have to acknowledge, yes, this is something for the long haul. Yes, we're going to have to start labeling this the third world championship.
So wait a second. Yeah. North Korean troops are on fighting in concert with Ukraine?
No, against. In
so they're on Russia. They're on Russia's side.
Yeah, they're absolutely, yeah. And that's like, it's NATO versus BRICS, and it's a pretty clear line in the sand. With the real winner out of this situation, in my opinion, is Bitcoin and gold. I don't think that gold has the potential to be the next backing of, say a BRICS dollar should BRICS win the war, or a NATO dollar if the United States should win the war. I think, in my personal opinion, that what's coming is a Bitcoin-backed dollar for either side that wins. We already see this conversation floated around in United States politics. We've already seen this conversation floated around in Chinese, Russian politics. And really, the situation of Bretton Woods 1.0 after World War II was only decided after there's a victor. I'd say this is going to take about 5 to 10 years to come to a conclusion, hopefully. And then the winning side, in my opinion, is going to choose Bitcoin as that backing asset. And that is when the hyper Bitcoinization type theories, in my opinion, could actually start coming true in like 2032. Beyond 2030, we could see, and in my opinion, we will see the winning nation state valuing its currency system in Bitcoin. The price will be much more leveled by that time. And who's going to be in the background owning 2% of the supply by now, probably 5% of the supply by the time that comes? It's BlackRock. It's BlackRock, baby. They're moving in. And it was just incredible to see that news break today. BlackRock owns 1.9% of the Bitcoin supply. So these money market manipulators, they know exactly what's coming. They keep fermenting the fire for this conflict, it seems. And honestly, it feels like they want to see it pushed to that level and beyond for a system reset and collapse into their new chosen system, which they've already bought real estate on.
Yeah, well, this my question theoretically is, let's say that plays out and it becomes the reserve asset in 2026. Like let's ignore like the future, the inevitable future. Let's just say this happened faster than the plan in 2026. Does Bitcoin go to $1 million that day?
To be $1 million Bitcoin, you have to have a $20 trillion market cap. But let's say the war is complete. Let's say America is now backing it. It's insane to say, but yes, it is. It's, the gold market cap right now is at around 15 trillion, $16 trillion. I think that the average circulating supply of American dollars somewhere around 3 or 4 trillion bucks. But then you're talking about the reserve asset backing the dollar and all the things on the markets. Then you're starting to talk about, derivatives are paper. They're not represented by anything tangible in the background. But, so, the speculation, the realization that it is the new world reserve currency, yes. That is tangible to hit a $20 trillion market cap. Where we're sitting right now, we're at a $1.4 trillion market cap. We just got accepted into the traditional finance system in American markets, European markets, Asian markets as well. We see it's basically a technological arms race. These countries are trying to position as quickly as possible into utilizing Bitcoin on their existing market systems. But should we see this conflict that is happening, regardless of if anyone wants to acknowledge it or not, China's circling Taiwan with their navy. America's moving their troops and positioning their navy for that kind of conflict as well. We see what's going on with Israel and Ukraine. We see a lot of stuff lining up for this. It doesn't look like this conflict is going to slow down. And should it continue down this path, honestly, it's not crazy to think about $1 million Bitcoin being accomplished before 2030. But I think this conflict's going to take us into the 2030 range.
Well, there's an interesting thing going on right now, and that's the everyone's talking about that MicroStrategy infinite money glitch. And I do believe that once the brainwashing of our current college system, where they're turned into Keynesian economists overnight, and that's all they learn. They don't learn anything else but Keynesian economics. I believe that this will be a chapter. Michael Saylor's play on Bitcoin and the infinite money glitch will go down in history. And I think what's going to happen now is that it's so undeniable that I think what was it? It was Microsoft. They're having a shareholders meeting to whether they implement the Bitcoin strategy. And so as far as I'm concerned, if MicroStrategy or if Microsoft does that, then we now have game theory on the Magnificent Seven. So it's that you can no longer be a successful company in the stock market without the Bitcoin strategy. And at that point, well, does it go to $1 million then too?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a snowball effect that you're talking about there. I mean, Microsoft is, so far, they're trying to convince their shareholders to vote no on that movement, but the shareholders are watching MicroStrategy go to the stratosphere. I mean, the MicroStrategy graph is absolutely insane right now, and in my opinion, it's front-running what the Bitcoin graph's about to look like.
Yeah.
You know, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy and kind of a snowball that follows downhill, and everyone on the outside looking into crypto like, well, all that needs to happen is Bitcoin needs to break. But the problem that they're going to have with that is that Bitcoin is so insanely decentralized and expensive to break that I just don't see it happening. We see the data is the new gold. We see Bitcoin is the king of data, proven data blocks. And it's the base layer where a lot of this whole ecosystem of crypto is built around. If Bitcoin fails, we all fail in crypto. All these side little, AI coins and layer twos on Ethereum and Solana, degen dens, all of those go to zero if Bitcoin fails. So really, I don't see this unstoppable monster coming to a close anytime soon. And eventually companies like Microsoft and eventually companies of that degree, even Dell, the CEO of Dell, is even pushing bullishness on the Bitcoin standard, the Bitcoin strategy, rather. I really wouldn't be surprised if Michael Saylor ends up owning his own country at some point. Like, he could buy the Galapagos Island at this rate in 10, 20 years. But he
took some heat this week.
I know he did. He definitely took some heat. And, he's pushing kind of the, his original comments that you don't really need self-custody. I don't know if that's his exact comments, but he runs a firm that represents holdings of Bitcoin. So obviously it's in his best interest to talk about the value of letting someone else hold it for you. But we need to not short sell the power that Bitcoin gives to the people to hold that power just the same as these massive financial institutions. We can hold crypto in cold storage. We can have seed phrases that are basically unbreakable as long as you don't have the ability to give them over, or you lost them on a boating accident and you're willing to go through that whole process. Because people joke, they're like, the government would never come seize your gold. They do not acknowledge the hard door knocks, the men with guns that showed up to American citizens' homes in 1933 to pull their gold out of their holdings to back a government, right? It does happen at a point, and it happens in very, very stressful times on a macroeconomic war front and a banking front. We have all three of those situations going on right now. It's just a matter of time. So definitely cold storage is the king for Bitcoin holding. And, take advantage of this time. I don't know if we've ever had this kind of power as a person in the history of mankind, where we could hold on to our own value, and it didn't have to be in a rucksack that the army could kick our door in and come take from our bedroom. It's on a digital cold storage ledger that is basically unhackable. So take advantage of that power. I mean, it's incredible to see people that refuse to acknowledge that and can't think of this in terms of invention. This is a technology invention that's just like the wheel, like the pen. And when the pen was invented, people that used the pen to transcribe information, they were looked at as witches. We're in the same type of realm right now. They're looking at these crypto degens. You're a digital witch. And this is going to zero. This is tulips. This is nothing. Meanwhile, their shareholders and all the people that run their multinational corporations are hammering into the asset class while they're trying to FUD it on the front side.
Yeah, I think what retail might have got wrong with that interview, and maybe I'm just I'm optimistic. I think that we have a hard time fathoming what it would be like to hold hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins. So like if you have 0.1 up to 5. I mean, storing it in your cold storage is fine as a person, but I think as it gets larger and he has a publicly traded company and he has accountants and he has all that stuff, probably the idea of a ledger on his office desk seems a little crazy at that point. But as we move forward, this one of the things I like about hodling Bitcoin is videos like this, where the reason why we get so confused about where price action isn't going is that we're not supposed to be here. We're not supposed to be on the inside of this massive world-changing trade. So it's like generally retail like us is left out. And what's happening now is that the retail that doesn't know about it, that we keep on talking about, like where's retail? Those people are locked out. They're not hearing about it. You know, the social sentiment, it's almost like they're being kept from it while the money power parasites are just collecting all the Bitcoin. And then once they have it all, they'll open the door and go, here you go. And then supply shock. And these poor normies will be.
I know. And when they do finally say, here you go, it is my opinion that it's going to be tied to, there's an executive order rolled out by the White House under Biden's administration, believe it or not, that actually lays out the plan to capture methane flares out of the oil and gas industry and stop that expansion of, CO2, play into their little climate initiative. They actually can turn the wasted energy into Bitcoin, but also the concept of proof of power and secure data sets within the Department of Defense and the Pentagon. The proof of power in the concept within it of Bitcoin is going to be the real nail in the coffin that solidifies it, that this shit is going nowhere. This is a nation state asset that is integral to our national security. Once they pound that into the brains of the average person sitting here watching MSNBC, CNN over the next 3 or 4 years, they're going to be so confused about what the hell they're even being told. They're not going to know what they're talking about. Proof of power, secure data sets, and all this shit doesn't make sense. I can't buy a whole Bitcoin for $200,000. I'm just going to let the monsters own all these things, and I'll just go do whatever at my bank account. And they're still going to sit on the sidelines. For the vast majority of people, they're really, really not going to be able to understand what hit them, even after it hits them. This is such a cataclysmic change to society coming. They're going to be basically in shock that it happened, that these damn crypto degens ended up doing this. And they're going to sit on the sidelines and watch it go to 1 million over the next 10 years. It's going to be a sad situation. It's going to be the death of the middle and lower class, man. The middle and lower class need to be paying attention to this more than anyone. The money powers, they already know. They're already getting the inside scoop. They're already getting in. It's the middle and lower class. This is the death sentence for them. If they don't open their eyes and their ears right now over the next 5 years, it is over with.
Yeah, sometimes I think that the concept of cryptocurrency, as this was like promoted in the early days, was a little bit of a red herring, and that saying you don't know what you don't know. I think looking back on these videos, as everyone is kind of talking about it as being a store of value and like a measurement, I think it's true value we can't even grasp right now. Like because we're limited little bird brain humans, they're just like, oh, this is money, this is dollars, this is a dollar bill. It's like we still don't understand the greater meaning of Bitcoin. It lies within its technology that I don't think I can't even grasp yet. And then once that is grasped and it becomes common knowledge, we'll probably look back on the fact that we are measuring it against a dollar as maybe one of the greatest failures of intellect.
Yeah, I mean, it's energy spent. It's electrical infrastructure and energy spent, and it's a secure data set. And really, like, the countries that are producing the most energy, they're the richest nations. And when we, for example, like here in Georgia, the company CleanSpark came in and they actually upgraded the electrical infrastructure in and of itself and increased capacity production because they're providing value by mining Bitcoin. And then the electrical industry sees the need. It's getting the money from the Bitcoin mining to do so. And then all of a sudden our infrastructure is hardened, and it's happened in Texas. Now Texas has a backstop for when things get crazy on their weather side and they have to turn off different levers to make sure they can stay warm or, stay cool during the extra hot portions of the year. This is a proof of power. It's the concept of proof of power. And really, when I see this come across MSNBC, when I see it being explained to Fox News, I don't expect the average Joe to really be like, all right, I'm going to sell this other house that I have on the side that I'm doing nothing with and go all in. No, people are going to stay asleep, and it's really going to be the masters of money markets that are going to continue to win. And it's the people that are paying attention right now. If you guys share this stream, hit the like on this stream, you guys are paying attention at the absolute best time to be looking at this asset class, not when it's getting fun. Equivalent to this 4-year cycle, back in October, we were sitting there playing around at like, I don't know, 10, 12,000 bucks in Bitcoin. And a lot of people had given up on Bitcoin back then. Even they saw the pump up to 12. They're like, oh, bear market's over. We're going to walk away. It's done. And then boom, November hits, 12% pump. And then it was literally, I would drive to Costco and make 3,000 or 4,000 bucks on the way down the road. 30 minutes, we'd have $1,000, multiple $1,000s moves on my portfolio. And I'm a middle class dude with a lot of kids. I'm not rich. And it really, really helped me provide for my kids and my wife in the best way possible. So I urge everyone to just pat yourselves on the back and help content creators like pianomattyb out here that don't give up on you guys, because it's interesting looking through all the noise and all the, we see all the FUD and all the scariness back and forth on Twitter. And we wake up every single day and come out and tell people why they should be paying attention at the right times with truth and honesty. And I love working with pianomattyb on that side. You're one of the best in the business, and one of the people that I found as a voice of reason in the last bull market as well. And I only listened to a few people, and pianomattyb, you're absolutely one of the best. So I appreciate being able to come on here, man. And I feel really passionate about this. Like, one thing that is, there was some news that I'll kind of rehash here. It's Friday. So we had Paul Tudor Jones talking about inflation's a guarantee. He's long Bitcoin and gold. We have Stan Druckenmiller betting 20% of his portfolio against U.S. Treasury bonds. Basically, another big bet guaranteeing that inflation is about to go absolutely insane in 2025 and 2026. Now, it's been a chart that I've been following for about a year now that basically looks at this stagflationary inflation spike that we had from the 70s to 80s, which ended up with 18% mortgages on home loans. Okay, so stay with me. We had $50,000 homes in 1970 to 1980, and we ended up pumping up to an 18% mortgage. What do you think the average person is going to be able to do to get into a home if the average home is $400,000, $450,000, and your interest rate is 18%?
Impossible.
$7,000 a month. What are they going to do? This is the end of the middle class and the lower class. If they're not paying attention, this chart is continuing to follow the same pattern. And if people just stay asleep, no, it can't get that bad. There's no way. It's the same damn attitude that I heard. No, the government can't institute quarantines, and they won't try to shut down the entire, economy and the government. And they would never do that. They would never lie to us. They would never create something to make further lies. And they would never take away our medical autonomy over our bodies. Guess what? They did it. And they're going to do even worse things to the people that are willing to accept it. So wake up, stand up, and get ready for this shit. It is coming.
That's the truth right there. Holy smokes. The funny thing about humans is that we rarely learn our lessons, right? And we're so forgiving. We're just forgiving little creatures of habit. And the next time this happens, unfortunately, I have a feeling that the same amount of people will buckle. But that doesn't matter. That's if we understand that's going to happen and we're here preparing for the next calamity. I mean, that's the difference between your family making it and not, really.
Yeah, it really is. And with the gains, I love buying generators. I love buying hard iron goods. I love building out more gardens. I love having land that produces food and just food security for my family. That is my first and foremost goal. And really, I'm not sorry about that. If we do, and I do think we're going to be in a bull market, in a juicy bull market, I'm going to be buying more homes with it. And wherever Bitcoin falls to, great. It'll be interesting how much if we got Wall Street hammering in, and they have, BlackRock holds 1.9% of the supply. God knows how many, coins Fidelity and VanEck are going to end up holding once 2025, 2026 rolls around. But it'll be interesting to see how much we pull back. I've got to stick to my 4-year cycle theory on that, expecting it to come back to 70, but it may never come. And this may be the final hurrah, the final really juicy bull market where we get to see the price reset hammer in again and rinse and repeat and make life-changing gains. So
yeah, my dark theory is that the money power parasites have been sitting on the sidelines telling everyone how bad it is while they research it with their 200 PhDs that they employ. They finally figured out everything. They have it like basically algoed as much as they can, and they know that retail wants to anticipate a bear market, and I feel they will do almost a head fake collapse, within the cycle, 2026, let's call into 2025, little head fake cycle. That's whenever all of us who have been here for cycles go, oh, this is it. Let's get out and clear our heads for the bear market. Them knowing and anticipating retail getting out, they'll just be like, and then boom, and it's gone. So let's say Bitcoin is at 400K at that point, just delusionally speaking, and it goes down to 300K, and then people, the smart retail is like, oh, here's the bear market, I'm getting out now. Well, they got out at 300. They paid capital gains on whatever that is, and then the market's going to take off on you, and you're going to get in at lower than you even got out. You may regret it for the rest of your life.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much, So, I mean, this is the market where I come out of it with whatever Bitcoin and land I can. This system at large, it's setting up for an honest reset. And that reset is going to be on a sociological, a civil side, a financial side. And if we're not building our bags of Bitcoin, if we're not building our bags of land, if you don't have food production capabilities for yourself, you might end up getting caught with your pants down. For the love of God, take this moment in time, lock in to what projects you see have the best upside potential. Bitcoin is the absolute way to go for me when it comes to protecting my own value, because guess what? There's over 250 banks that are at risk of failing because of $800 billion of unrealized losses sitting on the books right now, exponentially worse than the 2008 housing crisis. And we are just getting started with this calamity, folks. So lock in, and we're going to be seeing you real soon.
Make sure you like and subscribe.